All right, ladies and gentlemen, this time I am excited to be joined by our special guest, Nebraska football legend. He won a national championship, All-American type honors, first team All-Conference in 1999, a lengthy NFL career, a man who's doing a ton of stuff with the Warren Academy in Omaha, Mr. Steve Warren. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good, my man. How's it going your way?
Dude, life is good. I appreciate you taking the time. All right, man. Couple of quick questions right out the gate. What are your thoughts on you weren't at the Husker games, but I know you keep tabs on what's going on with the program, Matt Rule. What are your thoughts on the offseason so far as we head into Matt Rule's year 3 as head coach?
To be honest, I haven't paid as much attention this offseason with everything going on, but I know there's been a lot of changes, new coordinator, new receivers coach. It'll be exciting or interesting to see how everything takes shape early in the season. I think Cincinnati will be a good test to start a season to see kind of where we're at. Dylan in year 2, seeing what step he takes. So it'll be interesting. My thing and your thing, I'm sure, is always the defensive line. They lost 2 dudes there in the middle, so it'll be interesting to see how and who takes their place and steps up front, and seeing if the offensive line can take a next step this next year and improve.
So you led me perfectly. My next question was going to feed right into the defensive lineman. Obviously, you're a former D lineman, so am I. You lose Ty, you lose Nash. If you look at the 3 deep from last year, 6 of the 9 players on their 3 deep are not returning. Now they brought in Gabe Moore, Jalen George, other guys through the transfer portal. You got young guys, Keona Davis, Cam Lenhart, who started a couple years ago, several games, Elijah Judy. But what would you like to see out of this defensive line? You don't even have to put names to it, but what would you just like to see game 1 versus Cincinnati? Do you want to see penetration? Do you want to see, like, if you had to prioritize your number one thing, stopping the run, getting after the quarterback? Obviously, you want to see all the above, right. But if you had to prioritize one, what would be your big thing come game 1?
I would just say control the line of scrimmage. Play on the other side of the line of scrimmage. Make sure we're dominant up front and that we're dictating the game. Whether that is pass rush or that's tackles for loss or just disrupting plays and disrupting the run game, just dominating up front and playing on the other side of the line of scrimmage is what I'm looking for. Is a group that gets after it. No weaknesses on either side of the ball. Nothing, of course, up the middle. You can't have that. So hopefully, just they're solid, can play the run, and can get after the passer.
All right, let's look at the other side of the ball, the dark side of the ball, the offensive line. All right, our best friends in practice each and every day. But the offensive line, dude, we've got skill positions. We got talented guys at those skill positions, a talented guy at quarterback, a solid running back. And that's being kind because I think he's even better than that. To me, it all kind of revolves around the offensive line. Can we protect Dylan? Can we create holes for Emmett? What would you like to see out of the offensive line, your biggest focus come game number 1?
Again, the same thing, control the line of scrimmage. Protect the quarterback, and we've got to be able to run the ball. Like we know in the Big Ten, like you can pass the ball all you want to, but there's going to be a certain time of year where it's going to get cold. It's going to be a little harder to pass the ball. We got to be able to run the ball and run the ball effectively. So hopefully they can get after it, clear some holes, clear some space for these running backs. Like you said, he's a talented running back. So just give him a little bit of space, let him get to the second level and do work.
So if you had to choose, it sounds like you would choose running the ball, but I'm going to ask the question anyways. If you had to choose being a better run-blocking offensive line or protecting the quarterback was your strength as an offensive line, which one would you choose if you could only choose one?
If I had to choose one, I'd say running the ball because running the ball is going to open up the pass game. Now, I know there is thoughts these days that passing opens up the run, and you can look at that either way, but I just think the most physical teams always win when it comes down to the last part of the season, and being physical starts with running the ball and stopping the run to me. So I would say if we could run the ball effectively, that's going to help, one, a younger quarterback, offensive coordinator to call plays and have an open playbook. But if you become one-dimensional, I think it's tough to win games throughout the season and win those tough games. So I think you're going to have to rely on the run. So if I had to choose one, it's going to be able to run the ball effectively, but because I think that's going to help your pass game too, especially with the offensive line that may not pass protect well. If you can run the football, that opens up play pass and it allows you to kind of be a little bit two-dimensional or three-dimensional even.
Dude, I'm with you. I'm not even that old. I'm only 41, but I feel like I'm old school in my mindset. If you play good defense, you run the ball, and you don't beat yourself, you're going to win a lot of football games that way. I don't know. It's a story as old as time. All right, man. Last question about the Huskers. Then I want to talk about some of the things that you're currently doing with the Warren Academy. But next season, let's say it's got to be wins and losses focused. Obviously, you don't want any trouble off the field. You want to see the team progress. But if you had to put a wins and losses total on it, what would you consider a successful season in year 3 wins and losses total for Matt Rule and the squad?
Well, what would I say is a successful season? I would have to say to be successful, or with the schedule they have, let's be honest, it's not the toughest schedule on paper.
Yeah.
So let's just say for that schedule, I would say it has to be 9 or 10 wins.
All right. I like that. And it's crazy because you look at the schedule. It's so weird, dude. With Michigan State, Minnesota, Iowa, Penn State, USC, UCLA on the road in November. I'm like, oh, I could see us going 6-6. And then I look at it and I'm like, oh, the only team we're probably, and you never know, definitely going to be a big underdog is Penn State. We could be 11-1, like somewhere in the middle. Who knows where it's going to land? But hey, 9 wins, 10 wins, dude, Husker fans would be ecstatic about that. If you're at the 10-win range, you're in the conversation for the college football playoff too, as well. So we'll see what happens there. All right, my man.
Well, the interesting thing is a handful of those teams. You hear the names, but most of those teams are in the same boat as Nebraska right now. They're trying to get back to relevancy or trying to come back from a bad season. So that's why I'm saying we're in the same boat. So if you're in the same boat, you might as well take the win.
Dude, so here's the deal. You're absolutely right. You talk about, and Michigan's going to Michigan, but you got Michigan State trying to come back. You got UCLA with Nico Iamaleava. You got USC, who's literally in the same boat as we are. They went 1-5 in one-score games last year. We were 2-5, so we're both in the similar boat. All right, I lied. I got one more question. What do you think is going to be the biggest difference maker as far as whether we beat USC or don't, whether we beat Iowa or don't, whether we win those games or we don't, where we're in the same boat as our opponent and we're both trying to figure out how to get that done? What's going to be the biggest difference maker to you?
I think it's going to be the ability to score points. I think it's going to come down to who can put up scores on the scoreboard and who can score, and who has an efficient offense. I think that's what it's going to come down to. In this day and age, defense is a lot harder to play. So I think it's going to be who can come out and control the game offensively.
All right, man, let's talk about what you're doing with the Warren Academy. All right, maybe educate people if they haven't heard of it. Most people have. But for those who haven't, exactly what it is and some of the camps and things that you're doing with kids throughout this summer and going forward into the fall.
Yeah, so we're excited about this summer and going into the fall. We've revamped a little bit of what we're doing with the academy. We're kind of sports focused in a way at some of our facilities. We're at 144th and Giles in Omaha, but we're also partnering with Going Vertical starting in June. So at the 144th Giles location, we're primarily focused on football and our soccer kids. Sports performance training, skill training, speed training is one thing that we're trying to push to these kids, especially the high school kids, a little bit more because they're already lifting so much at their high schools that we don't want to really step in the way of the high school programs and add another lift onto a kid. But we know that we can help on the speed side and be a little bit more technical there. And then at Going Vertical, we're going to be partnering on basketball. So we're going to be primarily for basketball kids at Going Vertical and helping those hoopers get right and, gain a little bit of muscle, not get knocked off the spot and get to the rim a little bit easier.
All right, man. So obviously you do a lot with football. You do a lot with a lot of sports. I know you've grown a lot in soccer. If people want to learn more about how they want to get involved, learn more about the camps you're doing this summer, where can they learn more at?
Yeah, our summer camps start June 2nd and they go through July 31st. They can go to warrenacademy.com. Under each tab, the performance label is the sports performance tab. You'll find the performance lab, and that's primarily for the Giles location and what we're doing there for soccer and football. And then the Going Vertical, there's a Going Vertical tab that's specifically for their location and what we're doing for basketball there. So warrenacademy.com, click on the website, hit us up on our About Us and check out what we do and how we do it and why we do it. and then our contact us page if you got any questions. But other than that, man, we're looking forward to working with the kids this summer and growing the sport of football, and now we're getting into basketball and also soccer.
All right, man, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask your son, Braylon Warren. He's a quarterback, 6'1", 180 pounds, all right, out of Omaha, obviously, West Side High School class of 2027. What's the recruitment process been like for you guys? Is he enjoying it? Is it stressful? Have you kind of protected him as a parent? What's been your approach to this whole process?
Actually, he's upticked a little bit. He's closer to 6'2" now. He's about he was 205. He was 205 the other day, so he'd be mad at me if I kept him around 180. He's growing into a young man's body, but yeah, it's been fun for us. It's exciting. He's up to around 13 offers, all Power 4 conferences, several in the SEC, several in the Big Ten, and a lot in the Big 12. So now they're all starting to come this way. He's kind of become a national recruit. We feel like he's one of the top 10 quarterbacks in his class. We feel like he's a talented kid. We've been to Elite 11. We've been to Rivals Dallas. We just came back from Quarterback Collective, and every time he goes, he ends in that top group and is one of the kids that steps out and stands out. So for him, I think he's a laid back kid. So that's the best part for me is I don't have one of those kids that's the type of kid that wants to go on every visit and put on all the uniforms and take the pictures. He's not all about that. He's not really a big social media guy. He's a blue blood football player. So he loves football. He loves the sport. I'm always catching him looking at highlights. He's a big Jalen Hurts fan. So he's always into the game. And this past weekend was good for us. We were at QB Collective in LA, and he had a chance to work with current NFL coaches and current GMs, former NFL quarterback coaches, OCs, kind of a private camp. And he was just a sponge, man. He loved it. He loved being around those coaches and learning that part of the game. And they did a good job of keeping it at the level for high school kids. But I don't think it's gotten too crazy for him yet. It'll start June 15th when they can officially, legally start to contact him and call and DM and do all that stuff. But he's enjoying it so far, and so are we. We got a big camp schedule coming up, and we're just looking forward to this next football season with Westside.
Well, hey, man, best of luck to Braylon. Hopefully you guys enjoy this recruitment process. As you know, it can get a little bit crazy. And I'm looking at 247 Sports website, 6'2", 205, not 6'1", 180. They need to update that info. All right, my man. I wish you, Braylon, and everything you guys are doing at the Warren Academy nothing but the best. Thanks for taking the time to join me, my man.
All right, brother. Appreciate you.